Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today, folks, into the world of data quality excellence. And we've got a fascinating case study to guide us. Uber. Now, you might be thinking, Uber, what's so special about their data?
Well, think about it.
Yeah,
Millions of rides happening every day.
right.
Surge pricing changing constantly.
Oh, yeah.
Drivers depending on accurate earnings. Without top-notch data quality, things could get really messy really fast.
Oh, absolutely. I was reading their engineering blog, and they've got this whole platform called UDQ, stands for Uber Data Quality.
Pretty cool stuff.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it is. They're handling massive amounts of data in real time, and it all has to be accurate.
Oh, for sure.
Imagine if the data feeding into their surge pricing was even a little bit off. Chaos.
Chaos is right.
Riders getting overcharged, drivers missing out on earnings. Talk about a nightmare.
Absolutely. So data quality, clearly super important for a company like Uber. But it's not just them, is it?
No, not at all. We all rely on good data in our lives, whether it's making decisions at work or just staying informed.
Right.
We need information we can trust.
100%. So how does Uber actually make sure their data is up to snuff? Like, what's their secret sauce?
Well, like you mentioned, they built UDQ. This platform is constantly monitoring their data, looking for issues, and flagging them before they become big problems.
Proactive, I like it.
Exactly. It's all about catching those problems early.
So how many data sets are we talking about here?
Over 2,000 critical data sets. And UDQ is catching something like 90% of data quality incidents. It's really impressive.
Wow, that's a lot of data. So how do they even begin to test all of that?
They break it down into 5 main categories:
Okay, lay it on me.
freshness, completeness, duplicates, cross-data center consistency, and then a category for custom tests, tailored to their specific needs.
So they're covering all their bases.
Absolutely.
But with so many data sets, how do they even make sure the testing is consistent? I mean, that sounds like a nightmare to manage.
That's where their standardization comes in. They've defined specific formulas and thresholds. They call them SLAs, service level agreements.
I see. So no matter what data set they're looking at, they have a clear benchmark.
Exactly. It's consistent across the board. And here's the really clever part. They've actually leveraged their existing metadata service to automatically generate a lot of these tests. Saves them a ton of time and effort.
Oh, that's smart. Working smarter, not harder. I love it. Okay, so they've got all these tests in place, but how does it all actually work? Like, what does the architecture of this data quality platform look like? Paint me a picture.
Well, their automation is one of the most impressive aspects. They use what they call lineage information.
Lineage.
Yeah, it's basically like a map of how data flows through their systems.
Ah, okay. So they can track the data from point A to point B.
Exactly. And that lets them automatically onboard new data sets as they come in and get rid of outdated ones.
Oh, that's super efficient.
Right. It's a constantly evolving system,
Yeah.
always adapting. They've also got a system to deal with those pesky false positive alerts.
False positives. You mean like a test fails, but there's not actually a problem?
Exactly. Imagine getting flooded with alerts every time there's a little hiccup. It would be overwhelming. So instead of immediately raising a red flag, their system waits. It sees if the problem persists.
Ah, so it's like a built-in buffer.
Precisely. And that lets their team focus on the real issues, not just temporary glitches.
Okay, so they're filtering out the noise. That's smart. But I got to ask, we can't have a deep dive without getting a little technical, can we? Tell me a bit more about this test execution engine that's running the show.
You got it. Under the hood, they're using a pretty sophisticated test expression model based on something called abstract syntax trees. ASTs for short.
ASTs.
Yeah.
Sounds fancy.
It is pretty cool. Basically, it lets them handle a huge volume of assertions, those checks and balances,
Right.
but with a ton of flexibility. And then for those cross-data center consistency checks, they're using something called Bloom filters. It's a really elegant solution.
Bloom filters.
Got it.
So they've got the systems in place to catch those data quality gremlins. But what happens when they actually find one?
That's where the incident management workflow comes in. It's all baked right into the platform.
Okay, walk me through it.
So they've got automatic test reruns.
To make sure the fix actually worked.
Exactly. And they've got tools for manually reporting incidents too. So whether a problem is automatically detected or someone flags it manually, it gets addressed quickly and efficiently.
Nice. Streamlined process. But how do they know if it's actually working? I mean, how do they measure the success of this whole data quality platform?
They use a combination of metrics. It's not just about counting the number of incidents caught. They look at things like precision and recall.
Precision and recall. Remind me what those are again.
Sure. Precision measures how accurate their detection system is. So, of all the incidents they flag, how many are actually real problems?
Gotcha.
And then recall measures how many of the actual problems they're actually catching.
Ah, I see. So are they missing any? Clever. So they're really evaluating the effectiveness of the whole system, not just looking at the surface level.
Right. They also have these things called data level quality score and query level quality score. Gives them a big picture view of how healthy their data sets are.
So they're not just fixing problems as they pop up. They're constantly analyzing and improving the system itself.
Exactly. Continuous improvement.
Love it. But all this data quality, goodness, it's got to be accessible, right?
Yeah.
How does Uber make sure their users can actually use this information?
They've integrated a whole suite of tools.
Oh, tell me more.
There's a Databook dashboard, gives you a visual overview of the data quality status. Then there's Query Runner. It can actually block queries that are using bad data.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Right. And they've even got an ETL manager. Can stop those data pipelines from processing bad data upstream.
So they're stopping the problem at the source.
Exactly. And then, of course, their metric platform provides all sorts of insights into the quality of their business metrics. They're really covering all their bases.
That's amazing. They're not messing around. But wait, there's more, right?
Oh, you know it. Uber's always looking ahead.
So what's on the horizon for UDQ? What's the future hold?
Well, they're looking into things like backtesting, anomaly detection, and even more granular tests. They're constantly pushing the boundaries of data quality.
Wow. Always innovating. So we've covered a lot of ground here. We've seen how Uber takes data quality seriously and built this amazing platform to manage it all. But what does this mean for the rest of us? How can we apply these principles to our own lives and work?
That's the big question. And that's what we're going to explore in part 2.
Stay tuned, folks. This deep dive is just getting started.
All right, let's take a step back for a second and recap what we've learned so far about Uber.
Okay.
I mean, it's incredible how they manage all this data in real time.
Yeah,
Right? Their whole business model depends on it.
absolutely.
And they're a perfect example of how to do data quality, right?
Sure.
Remember those 5 pillars we talked about?
Accuracy, completeness, timeliness, consistency, compliance.
Exactly. Uber's got them all covered. And that UDQ platform, it's seriously impressive.
Oh, yeah. They're not messing around.
No, they're not. They're automating tests, managing incidents, using clear metrics to track their success.
It's mind-boggling how much data they handle.
I know, right?
But they've managed to translate all that technical stuff
Yeah,
into real benefits
absolutely.
for both riders and drivers.
Think about those surge pricing calculations.
Oh, yeah.
If the data's even a little bit off, it could be a disaster.
Oh, totally. Riders getting ripped off, drivers missing out on earnings.
Exactly. But with their robust data quality system, they're minimizing those risks.
They're making sure those calculations are as accurate as possible.
And that creates a fairer, more efficient marketplace.
It all comes back to trust, doesn't it?
It really does.
When the data is reliable, everyone benefits.
100%. And it's not just about surge pricing either.
Right.
Accurate data is essential for everything. Matching riders and drivers, optimizing routes, preventing fraud.
Oh, yeah, of course.
It all adds up to a smoother, more reliable transportation system.
It's like a chain reaction.
It is.
Good data leads to better decisions lead to a better user experience.
And a better user experience leads to a more successful business.
Exactly. It all comes back to those 5 pillars.
Now, our listener might be thinking, well, that's great for Uber. They've got a whole team of engineers and a fancy platform.
Oh, what about me?
Right? How can I apply these principles to my own work?
Without breaking the bank or hiring a whole team of data scientists?
That's a great question. And the answer is the fundamental principles of data quality are universal.
Okay, I like where this is going.
It doesn't matter if you're managing spreadsheets, analyzing customer data,
Yeah.
or even just making decisions based on information you find online.
Right.
Those 5 pillars still apply.
So it's not about the tools, it's about the mindset.
You got it.
So where do we start? What's step 1?
Awareness. Just recognizing the importance of data quality is a huge step.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then it's about asking the right questions.
Like what?
Is this data accurate? Is it complete? Is it timely? Is it consistent? Does it comply with any relevant regulations?
Okay, so it's like a mental checklist before you even start working with the data.
Exactly. Once you've asked those questions, you can start thinking about how to improve the data quality in your own context.
So what would that look like? Give me some examples.
It could be as simple as adding some basic data validation rules to your spreadsheets,
Okay.
or being more critical of the sources you're using.
Right, makes sense.
Or maybe it means advocating for better data governance practices within your team or organization.
The point is, you don't need a fancy platform like Uber's to make a difference.
Exactly. Small changes can have a big impact.
And that leads to better decisions, better outcomes.
Now, there's one more element we should touch on.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Something that's often overlooked when we talk about data quality.
What's that?
The human element.
Ah, interesting. Tell me more.
Data quality isn't just about technology and processes, it's about people.
Okay, I like that.
It's about creating a culture where everyone understands the importance of good data.
So it's more than just building the right systems, it's about fostering the right mindset.
Exactly. Remember, data is created, collected, managed, and used by people.
Right.
So if you want to truly elevate data quality, you need to get everyone on board.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's about teamwork,
Yeah.
collaboration.
All right, so how do we actually do that? How do we cultivate that kind of data-driven culture?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And a perfect segue into our final part.
Ooh, cliffhanger.
Stay tuned, folks. We'll unpack all of that and more in part 3. All right, so we're tackling the big question now.
Yeah, the million-dollar question.
How do we build a culture where data quality thrives?
It sounds like a pretty tall order, honestly.
It is a challenge, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's definitely doable.
Okay, good.
And you know what? Uber's a great example of this.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, their platform, UDQ,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be nearly as effective
Right.
without a company culture that values data quality.
So it's not just about the technology.
Nope, it's about the people.
It's about the mindset.
Exactly. And it all starts at the top,
Okay, so like leadership needs to buy in.
100%. If the leaders don't prioritize data quality, it won't trickle down.
It's got to be a top-down approach.
Exactly. They need to set clear expectations and allocate the necessary resources.
Resources, yeah, that's key.
It is.
But it can't just be the higher-ups.
Right.
How do we get everyone else on board?
Well, you got to connect the dots for them.
Okay, what do you mean?
Show them how their work, their attention to detail,
Yeah.
directly impacts the bigger picture.
So in Uber's case, how does that good data quality translate to a better experience for riders and drivers?
Exactly. You got to make it real for them.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
Instead of just talking about data completeness or whatever.
Right, abstract concepts.
Exactly. You got to show them how those principles actually make a difference in the real world.
How do we do that?
Well, one way is to empower people.
Okay.
Give them the tools and training they need.
Yeah, so they can actually spot those data quality issues.
Right. And create an environment where they feel safe reporting those problems.
So no one's afraid to point out a mistake.
Exactly. It's all about continuous improvement.
Yeah, making it a team effort.
And don't forget about recognition.
Oh yeah, celebrating wins.
Exactly. Big or small, recognizing those contributions reinforces the importance of data quality.
Makes people feel valued.
Right. And it creates that positive feedback loop.
Good data leads to good outcomes, which leads to recognition, which makes people want to keep up those high standards.
That's it. You got it.
It's brilliant.
Now, there's one more piece to this whole culture puzzle,
Okay, lay it on me.
especially for a company like Uber.
All right.
It's the embrace of change.
Change.
Yeah. Remember, Uber operates in a fast-paced environment.
Oh yeah, things are always changing in the tech world.
Exactly. Their data is constantly growing and evolving.
So they need to be adaptable.
Precisely. Their culture has to be comfortable with change, ready to embrace new challenges and new approaches.
And that's reflected in their platform, UDQ.
Right. It's designed to be scalable, flexible, and constantly evolving.
Wow, so we've come full circle.
We have.
From the technical nitty-gritty of Uber's platform
Yeah.
to the importance of company culture.
It's all connected.
Who knew data quality could be so philosophical?
Data is the lifeblood of any organization.
Yeah.
And just like our bodies need clean blood,
Right?
organizations need high-quality data to function properly.
So the Uber way, it's not just about technology.
It's a mindset.
It's about valuing good data, empowering people, and constantly striving to improve.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. Really eye-opening to see how Uber tackles this challenge.
It has been interesting.
But it's not just about Uber, is it?
No, not at all.
These are principles that any organization can apply.
Absolutely.
So here's a final thought for our listeners.
Okay.
How can you be a champion for data quality in your own world,
Good question.
whether it's at work, in your community, or even in your personal life?
Yeah.
What steps can you take to raise the bar, to make sure the data you're using is the best it can be? Because ultimately, better data leads to better decisions.
It really does.
And that's something we can all get behind, right?
Absolutely.
We've included a link to that Uber Engineering blog post in the show notes so you can dig into the technical details if you're interested.
Great resource.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.